It is Monday. Welcome to the Real Estate Show, where we talk about everything to do with real estate, owning it, investing it, selling it, whatever you want. It's the Real Estate Show. Today, I'm hacking up a lung, so I'm probably going to hack up a little bit during this episode. But today, I'll be walking you through exactly how you can own and invest in real estate without all of the hassle of dealing with tenant calls, dealing with repairs, dealing with all the junk that gets left behind, because that's something I've got some firsthand experience with. All right, a couple stories come to mind with this. Number one, I remember back in the day, before I started doing the multifamily stuff, I was sitting at home and there was a phone call. It was like 10:30 at night. And the tenant calls up and says, "Oh, well, I smell smoke in the unit. Like, I'm so concerned, like, you got to get over here." So I hop in the car, wheel on over, look around. There's no smoke. Like, at first I thought, oh, crap, there's a fire. No, you know what it was? It was the guy had bought a space heater and he had plugged it in for the first time. And you know how you get that smell the first time you use a heater? That's what it was. Another example, a tenant had disconnected the downspout beside the water was going down in the downspout. They disconnected the extension part that moved it away from the foundation. This was a duplex. And of course, we ended up with a flood in the basement because the guy disconnected it and all this water was pouring down directly beside the foundation of the property. And there was a block foundation too. So it was just like water dumping in. I could go on and on and on. And I remember way back cleaning up a unit. There were it was disgusting. There was obviously a kid, like a small child who lived there, but the place was gross, just gross. All the paraphernalia around, it was just nasty. And when you see those types of units, you get really mad because like there's obviously a child living there. But like so much hassle goes in to running real estate. And so when I first started, I got into like duplex conversion, your typical single family home investing stuff. And at the time I was like, okay, well, I'm selling real estate. I know what I'm doing. I can just save myself the 10 to 12% management fee. I'll just do it all on my own. And what happens is you end up getting yourself a job that you're not getting paid very much for. So everybody gets involved in terms of real estate investing to build wealth, take back their time freedom, the passive income down the road. But when you're dealing with phone calls from tenants, from people, hey, I smell smoke in the unit and there's no smoke. Hey, my unit's flooding. By the way, I disconnected the downspout. Or just cleaning up messes when people do a midnight move. It's just that's not why you invest in real estate. And a lot of people, they end up getting into real estate investing, especially when they're doing single family home stuff. So maybe you buy a second property, maybe you buy a duplex, a triplex, and like, hey, listen, I want to do this. I want to have something for my family down the road, maybe my retirement. A lot of people get into it with some great intentions, but what happens is they don't have the systems in place. They don't have the experience. They don't have the guidance. They don't have the support. And it just turns into a huge dumpster fire. And then you build up resentment. And when you get phone calls at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning from tenants, that's not why we got into it. I remember a guy from Central Canada, really well-respected investor. He owns a lot of stuff. And I remember speaking with him. He actually came out to a workshop I ran. And he's like, hey, listen, I haven't taken a vacation in it was 3 years or something like that. And he's like, this isn't why I got into real estate. He owned a lot of real estate, was really successful, but his lifestyle was zero. and that's not why he got into real estate. That's not why he worked so hard to build it up. So we have to find a way to invest in real estate without all of that hassle and without it affecting our happiness and our fulfillment in our life, with our families and everything too. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can do this. So you're not dealing with tenants, you're not dealing with cleanup, you're not dealing with all the hassle, the day-to-day management. Okay. And there's really two ways I want to approach this. Okay. And the first way, there is a hiccup with it. And I'll bring this up at the end, but this is how a lot of people start. Okay. So option A, let's call it. Option A. So to kick things off, there's something called the real estate matrix. Now, this is something I created to help explain how real estate deals get done. Okay. And there are 4 different components to the real estate matrix. You have the deal itself, the opportunity, you have financing, so the bank, the loan, you have equity, which is the money you need for the down payment for any work that you're doing, and then you have management. So let's use a smaller deal example, okay? Because I talk a lot about apartment buildings. That's what we do with CPI. We acquire apartment buildings with investors. We turn them around. We make a profit, and we send you checks to the mailbox every month. That's what we do with CPI. But a lot of people, they're like, hey, listen, I just want to get my first duplex. I want to invest in a triplex. But they don't want to deal with all the hassles, okay? So this is what you can do. We know every single deal must have a deal. We must have financing, we must have equity, and we must have management. Now, I just don't mean property management. I mean, knowing when to sell, what to do, all that type of stuff. So what happens is if somebody comes across a deal, okay, so this is a property, maybe it's a duplex or whatnot. Somebody who found that deal, they have a deal, check. Okay, maybe they can get financing, check. Maybe they have management, check. They know what they're doing, but they just don't have the equity, the money needed. Right? So great deal. They're just missing the equity, the money they need to put into this deal. If you don't want to deal with all the headaches and all the management, what you can do is you can enter into what's called a joint venture, a JV, some type of partnership with somebody who already has these components. And all you have to do is you just have to bring the money component to the deal. And now we have all 4 components satisfied, the deal can happen. And this setup works well because the person with the deal and all the experience, but not enough money, well, they know what they're doing, but they can't get the deal done. The person with the money, but who doesn't have the deal, who doesn't have the experience, they can't do a deal anyway. So you marry both parties together, and now the deal can actually happen. So that's called a JV. Now, the challenge with this, or not the challenge, but the reality that we have to understand with this type of arrangement is, even though in the industry the terminology is, hey, I'm the money partner, I'm the money guy in this deal. That's not really the case, because a lot of people have the misconception that just because they're bringing money to the deal and they're not actively visiting the property, or that they're not swinging a hammer, that they're passive in the deal. Well, what happens is, if this deal goes bottom up and something really bad happens to the deal, the fact is that both this person, so partner A and partner B, are equally responsible for everything that happens. And the risk is unlimited, meaning that if something goes wrong and partner A goes belly up, well, everybody's coming now after partner B to rectify the situation and make themselves whole. So even though partner B is just bringing the money here, well, they're on the hook for the entire deal. That's the way this works. Now, so some people it works really well. Other people, they're not comfortable with that type of risk, because there is risk. Every single arrangement or partnership carries risk. And that's not something that's talked about enough. So your option A is the joint venture. So if you don't want to deal with the tenant phone calls, all that stuff, well, you could become a money partner in a joint venture, but you just have to understand that you're not passive, even though a lot of people think you are. You're very much on the hook for everything else. So this brings me to option B. And I erased my real estate matrix here. So we got the deal, financing, equity, and management. So there's another way to invest, and this way is a lot better suited to people who truly want to be 100% passive and not carry that additional risk like option A gives us, okay? So this is what happens. Let's say me with CPI, we find a great apartment building deal. Okay. So we found the deal. With CPI as well, like we'll take care of all the financing stuff. So we got that covered. We get great debt terms. We also know what we're doing. Like our acquisitions director, very well experienced guy. Our asset manager, very, very well experienced. Like we've got a really solid team. So we've got the deal, we've got the financing, we've got the management. And also we invest in every deal that we do. So we've got some of the equity. But let's say we're raising, let's just use this example. Let's say I have to raise $10 million for an apartment building. All right. Maybe we're going to bring a couple million ourselves, but now we need to come up with another 8 million to make this deal happen. So in option A, like I spoke about with like that duplex or triplex, that smaller deal, you would joint venture together. So one person would bring the money, one person would swing the hammer. Everybody's active. What we're able to do, because we have a larger scale, we're raising more money, the deal's a lot bigger, we're able to employ a different type of structure to the deal that actually affords protections to the money partner that you wouldn't get in that option A example I showed you. So what happens is we've got different investors. We've got lawyers, we've got doctors, we've got programmers, we've got business owners, we've got a whole bunch of different investors who work with us and invest in our deals. So what they do is they get pooled together. So maybe we got $100,000 here, $500,000 here, $300,000 here, depending on their situation and what they're looking to invest. They know that we have the experience. They know that we have the track record. We have the team. We have the deal flow. We actually just got off our Monday meeting this morning. Our acquisitions team was just updating us on all the deals we're looking at. We're actually working on one right now that should go together. So we're on the ball with this type of stuff. So we have strong deal flow, good reputation, good track record, good team. These investors over here, they're busy doing what they do best. So whether they're a surgeon, well, they're better off doing surgery than trying to start a real estate business. Maybe they're a lawyer, and so they're better off arguing in court. Well, I would say they're better off avoiding court and getting the matter settled before you end up in front of a judge. They're doing what they do best day to day with their skill set, like their strengths. But they all know that real estate provides stability in terms of investments, cash flow, tax benefits, and future growth through appreciation. So, like they're doing what they're doing best. They're earning income, but then they also want to start building their real estate portfolio, but they don't want to deal with the hassle of tenants. They don't want to deal with that stuff. And quite honestly, neither do I, right? It's a pain in the ass, and I dealt with that, and I never want to deal with that stuff again. So they say, hey, Seth, hey, CPI, you do this really well. Can I invest with you? Great. So this is what the setup looks like. And again, this is different from option A that I showed you before, because now we have some special protections in place just through how this is structured, okay? So we've got all these investors, doctors, lawyers, business owners, accountants, you name it. And we've got our CPI team over here. So this is us. So we've got the team, all the staff, all the systems in place. We have the deal, we have the financing, and we have the management experience. Like we know what renovations to do, when to raise rents, when not to raise rents, when to pull back, when to go forward, when to sell, when to refund. Like we know all that stuff. And then we also have some money, but not all of it. So what we do is we go to our investors and say, hey, listen, we need to raise 10 million bucks. We're bringing in 2 million. We need to raise another 8. So our investors say, oh, okay, well, I want to invest 100, 2, 3, 500, sometimes $1 million, sometimes 2 million, depending on the investor. We'll raise that money. Now, this money is going to come into this deal, but this is where the structuring gets really cool. Oh, this is my old notes from a previous episode. Let me erase that. The structure that we follow is set up in a way where the investors over here have limited risk. Now, remember how I said risk isn't really talked about enough in real estate? And then I'll have unlimited risk. So option A, where we had that JV partnership, unlimited risk, like I said, something goes wrong, poof, like everything's at risk. Because of the way we structure our deals, we have a passive investor here coming in, and they're protected by the way we structure these things. So maybe an investor is investing $100,000. Well, that $100,000 is at risk, right? With any stock you buy, any equity, like anything you buy, there's always risk that it could go down to zero. It happens, right? Like that is a risk. Now, the way we've set this up is instead of having unlimited risk, where you could lose that 100K initial investment plus everything else, the way we set this up is we isolate our investors so that way they're only risking that $100,000, just like you would with a stock, and they're not liable for anything else that could happen. That risk is transferred over to our shoulders on this side. So we are actually called a general partner or a sponsor. And then here, because of the limited risk, this is called the limited partnership. So our investors, they're able to get the passive cash flow. They're able to get the growth, the future growth through appreciation. They're able to get tax benefits. They're able to enjoy the stability that real estate provides. CBRE found that multifamily apartment buildings are the #1 asset to own for stability, the most stable asset in recessions, right? Perfect. So, but our investors are able to come in, enjoy all of those passive benefits and not dealing with tenants, not dealing with phone calls, not dealing with the guy who thought the unit was on fire because of the space heater. They don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And they get special protections over here. So they're limiting their risk. And then they get the upside as well. That's what this type of structure provides for passive investors. Now, on our side, we take the unlimited risk because we're the one with the deal. We're the one with the financing. We're the one with the management. Like we've got all of those systems in place. We just partner with our investors who come into the deal through this type of structure, and they get saved a lot of risk. Like we really limit their risk, which is huge when it comes to real estate. Huge. Okay. So like I said, with your option A, it does work, right? Where you have that money partner, and typically you see this type of setup in, flipping houses or small deals. You're doing a duplex or a triplex. But what I've found over time is doing that duplex, that triplex, those deals are really small and they don't produce a lot of cash flow. Right. And the type of debt terms of financing it doesn't compare to apartment buildings. And one of the reasons apartment buildings are so stable is you have a lot of scale. So with, and I know this from personal experience, right? So I used to have a duplex. So let's just say a duplex. We have 2 tenants. If one of those tenants moves out, 50% of my revenue is gone overnight, gone. If I have a 4-plex and one tenant moves out, a quarter, 25% of my revenue is gone. Look at any business out there, any business. If a business lost 50% of their revenue overnight, boom, lights out. A quarter, 25% of your revenue. Look at Red Lobster with their unlimited shrimp deal, right? Took a huge hit. 25%, boom, gone. But with an apartment building, 100 units, right? And maybe 5 units are vacant. That's 5%. That's the cost of doing business. So you can see, and this is why apartment buildings are so stable in recessions. We just have better scale, right? Apartment buildings are designed to scale. The way we finance these, how the loans are, everything's designed at a much greater level, and that gives us stability. That gives us predictability. That gives us cash flow. which is what a lot of residential deals with like that duplex, triplex, single family home, condo, you don't really get the cash flow there. And then we get into terms called negatively geared, where people actually buy properties that lose money with the hope of them actually going up in value in the long run. That's speculation. I'm going down a rabbit hole there. But if you're somebody who earns a good income, you know what you're doing, you're an expert, you're a pro, but you also want to enjoy the benefits of real estate investing, everything that comes along with real estate investing, everything, the tax benefits, the mailbox checks, we call them, even though everything's done electronically. So every month you get a check in your mailbox. If you're looking for that type of investing without all the hassle and the risk and the tenant being a pain in the ass, this type of structure that we provide is exactly what you're looking for, right? And this is how we help a wide range of professionals and business owners. We help them invest in deals much larger than they could do on their own. So going back to this, so let's say it's a $20 million asset. If somebody has $200,000 to invest on their own, they can't buy a $20 million asset. It just doesn't work. So then they got to do a smaller deal, and that's not going to cash flow as much. That's not going to be as stable. But because we're able to group our investors together, we're able to take down this large deal. We get it under contract. We do all the work. Our investors are able to enjoy the benefits of a larger deal that they wouldn't be able to do on their own. And so it works out for the investors. It works out for us because now we're able to add to the company portfolio. We're able to generate more returns for our investors. We're able to bring more people in to our organization and help them out, send them money every month. That's our goal with this type of stuff. So option B, it's called syndication. That's the type of structure that we use for our deals, and it works really, really well. We're able to help a lot of people. We're able to make real estate investing easy for a lot of people, and we're able to help them de-risk their situation where they may be in risky JVs and partnerships. And now because of the structure we use, we're able to de-risk it and help people invest in a much more limited risk way in that type of manner that really allows them to have peace of mind. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, I want you to go to callseth.com, set up a call with me, with my team. And if you want to actually learn how to invest in apartment buildings, if you want to be active, I know today I was talking about passive, but if you want to learn how to be active, just go to theapartmentaccelerator.com. We can help you out with that as well. But for the passive investing, passive income, callseth.com, check it out. And we'll sit down, we'll figure out a game plan, look at your portfolio, see what you want to do. And, if we're a good fit, great. If not, that's okay too. But it's all about educating you and providing you the best information possible so you can make the most educated decision possible for both you, your family, and your future. All right. So hopefully this was helpful. I made it through without hacking up a lung, so I'm impressed. And I'll see you guys next Monday on The Real Estate Show.